racist walks into a Dollar General with a semi-automatic rifle and a pistol and starts shooting black people. This is America. This is the United States of America. According to the sheriff, the shooter, who they haven't named yet, is believed to have acted alone and allegedly wanted to kill himself. He lived in Jacksonville's Clay County with his parents and authored several manifestos, including one to his parents and another to the media. And the sheriff adds that at least one of the guns had a swastika drawn on it. Because why not? It's Florida. Ron Bag said that the gunman was a scumbag and described the shooting as horrific. I agree with you, dishhead. You go on to say that the gunman was targeting people based on their race. That is totally unacceptable. 2 for 2. I absolutely agree. Then you said the guy killed himself rather than face the music and accept responsibility for his actions, and so he took the coward's way out. He didn't accept responsibility for his actions. Actions that were made infinitely more simple to commit because he lived in Florida. For one thing, Nazis feel real comfy in your state, Governor. Why is that? Why do they feel so safe in your state? I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that in January of last year in Orlando, a bunch of neo-Nazis staged a demonstration at an overpass over the highway, and you called it an attempt by Democrats to smear you.
In Jacksonville, Florida, apparently a white man, a young white man in his early 20s, went into a Dollar General convenience store and shot up some black people because they were black. And he was apparently a white supremacist, a neo-Nazi or something. It left a manifesto behind. And guys, man, we have got to understand what is going on here. I mean, truly. We truly got to understand what is going on here. You know, again, in no way am I condoning his behavior. In no way. I think it's abhorrent. I think it's, of course, it's wrong. But again, we have to truly understand what's happening here. You know, again, man, the racial flames have been fanned in this country to no end. And it's going to get worse. Before it gets better, it will get worse until people stop. Until people stop the stuff. And again, there are a lot of problems right now coming out the left. I've covered myself a couple of stories just in the last few months that they're not covering on the national news, just local news. For white people being followed in places and killed just because they're white. They don't know them, but again, this happening. But again, we don't hear about it. We don't hear about it. I'm going to stick up a clip from that to show you one of the stories I'm talking about. But again, people didn't hear about this because it wasn't a big national news thing, because it doesn't fit the leftist narrative. So again, we have to truly understand what they're doing. Guys, I want to stick up a clip here and show you from the news what just happened.
Neighbors, this again is the suspect, Ryan Palmeter. Action Jax is live in Oakleaf outside the suspect's home. And Jake Stofan is there. Parents called the Clay County Sheriff's Office this morning after they found a hate-filled manifesto in the home.
Well, according to Jacksonville Sheriff T.K. Waters, there were multiple manifestos left behind by the shooter, making it explicitly clear his hatred towards black people. Now, neighbors here told me they had no idea 21-year-old Ryan Palmeter held those racial resentments, but one neighbor did tell me he came off as an unhappy, standoffish young man. Photo of 21-year-old Ryan Palmeter as the man who carried out today's tragic mass shooting at a Newtown Dollar General. Sheriff's deputies were present outside Palmeter's home throughout the day and into the evening. Jacksonville Sheriff T.K. Waters said Palmeter's parents had called Clay County Sheriff's Office earlier in the day, reporting their son had left behind a manifesto.
By that time, he had already began shooting in Jacksonville.
Sheriff Waters says the shooter's victims were all black. Waters says his multiple manifestos and the swastikas drawn on his AR-15 style rifle made it undeniably clear his rampage was racially motivated.
This shooting was racially motivated, and he hated black people. He wanted to kill.
Waters also noted Paul Meter had previously been Baker acted in 2017 and was involved in a domestic call in 2016, but had no history of arrest, adding it was unclear whether he obtained his firearms legally.
I can't say that he owned them, but I know his parents did. His parents didn't want them in their house.
Neighbor Patty Grisby wasn't familiar with Paul Meter, but was shocked when she found out he lived just a few doors down and her children often play around the neighborhood.
I mean, they ride their bikes, they play outside. I mean, it's just really scary. I mean, I really have goosebumps just thinking about it's right here in our neighborhood, the quiet little street.
Sabina Escalada lives across the street from the gunman's home.
He's just on the outside, seemed like a typical teenager, you know, like didn't seem very happy sometimes, or just wanted to keep to himself.
She said she didn't know Paul Meter well, but said she had a good relationship with his parents, saying she was heartbroken when she heard the news.
It's hard thinking about like your own child doing something like that, and you feel for the family.
So guys, man, we see what happened right here. We do. We see what happened. And again, my heart goes out to the family, the victims, the family of the victims, the family of the young man. But again, man, we are going to have to realize what's happening. And again, it's not going to stop until people stop fanning the flames of racial division in this country. It's going to keep getting worse. Man, and again, the majority of the problems is coming from the left. It truly, truly is. Actually, I'm going to bring you a clip from a black conservative perspective. I believe the guy's name is Greg. And I follow him, man. He's got pretty good stuff. But I'm going to put up a clip from him talking about this.
It was clearly targeting black people, so it seems, according to the manifesto. We're going to talk a little bit more about that and some strange things that are going on with this incident in general. But I want to read this tweet right here from Tariq Nasheed, because, again, you have the woke race hustlers of America once again blaming the GOP for something like this when stuff like this happens. So they're trying to take advantage of it. So let's read here. The latest anti-black massacre at the hands of another radicalized white supremacist is a result of constant anti-black rhetoric being normalized by people like Ron DeSantis and the liberal white media for giving DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, and others a platform to spew their anti-black rhetoric. Again, I wonder what specifically did they say that's anti-black, right? Like, for example, being against affirmative action, or I don't know, maybe we shouldn't have queer studies taught in African-American history. Again, I'm trying to figure out exactly what is anti-black about anything that Vivek Ramaswamy or Ron DeSantis have said, and how in the world did that motivate this? Again, people just go on the internet and just say anything, right? That's one thing I know about the internet. People will literally go on the internet and just say anything, okay? But hey, I can point to a whole lot of anti-white things that are said in the media and by Democrats that, hey, I could argue motivated some of the mass shootings against white people, okay? And I've covered a couple of those stories where we have situations where a black shooter went and hunted down white people and killed them just because they were white. And we know that that's what they did because they admitted to it, okay? And again, you don't see the same type of coverage. You don't see the same type of concern. You don't see people going out here and blaming Democrats and the liberal media for spewing anti-white rhetoric.
Guys, we got to truly understand, what does Ron DeSantis say that's racist? Or Vivek Ramaswamy, what do they actually say that's racist? Nothing. Again, they don't, because they don't go along, like you said, with the affirmative action. You know, again, we have got to understand, because again, Ron DeSantis wants to teach all aspects of history. So again, we truly got to understand that. And guys, he's not the one that did that. He appointed people that looked over things. And again, black people, black historians approved what they're teaching in Florida. We truly have to understand that. But again, this whole thing, man, about the racist GOP, racist white people, racist conservatives, man, I mean, really, that is what is fanning the flames of racial division in this country. Guys, I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about and what Greg's talking about. Again, they don't treat things the same. If there are black shooters out there killing white folks, they don't treat it the same. Again, there's no coverage on that, or at least not anywhere near as much as the other way around. We truly have to be honest about this.
Into possible hate crime charges as they reveal new details about the circumstances leading up to the killing of Metairie handyman Lawrence Herr last month.
As Rob Masson reports, they say one of the suspects has admitted to his role, saying they just wanted to go out and kill a white guy.
They have been booked with the first-degree murder of 66-year-old handyman Lawrence Herr, also known as Peanut, who was gunned down while repairing this mailbox on Kenner's Georgetown Place last month.
This man was out minding his own business. He was a good Samaritan, just doing his job as he does. As you travel through this community, people speak very highly of him. So it's just sickening.
During a Tuesday video appearance in magistrate court, Kenner Police Detective Nicholas Engler said that 23-year-old Taj Matthews and 25-year-old Maurice Holmes were captured on surveillance video taken at a Clemson Drive apartment complex just 2 hours before the killing. In the video, the detective testified that Holmes can be seen passing a weapon to Matthews. The detective also testified that a box of 9mm bullets were found on the floor of the car used in the deadly drive-by shooting last month.
Later in the confession, they did indicate that they were specifically not only looking to kill somebody, but they wanted to be a white person.
Now to our continuing coverage of the accused gunman who randomly killed 2 men in North Tulsa. We now know the killings were likely racially motivated.
Fox 23's Scott Martin was in the courtroom today and learned the new charge that suspect faces.
The newest charge against Carlton Guilford is a malicious intimidation or harassment charge, and according to court documents, he shot 2 people randomly because of their race. Days after being denied bond, Carlton Guilford faced a judge virtually for his arraignment. He's charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of shooting with intent to kill, and now a new charge, which falls under what Oklahoma considers a hate crime.
Joins us live. Dennis, a lot of drama in the courtroom today.
Definitely, Ken and Catherine. Now, everybody involved in this case, they had their chance to read their statements, not only to the court, but to Muhammad himself. In the end, though, they were denied their opportunity to address the man who killed their loved one. Still, they are happy to be able to move on.
Father of Carl Williams.
We're going to pause. Before any family or friends of Corey Muhammad's victims could speak, Muhammad warned the judge he'd have outbursts if he was addressed by family members. To avoid conflict, Judge Jonathan Conklin removed him from the courtroom, a frustrating move for the families.
He's a coward. He's an evil coward. That's why he didn't want to hear what we had to say.
But still, they shared their grief, their regrets.
Every time I close my eyes, I could see my son and wish that I could have been there to save him.
And talked about the unspeakable scars the quadruple murders left behind.
He said, "Mommy, I want to be dead like Daddy." He then described to me he wanted to die so he could be in heaven with Daddy, a 4-year-old.
Muhammad took his seat again after family members spoke. He made a statement offering condolences before launching into a familiar refrain about reparations, this time bringing politicians into the mix.
So let black people go with our own land and reparations. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell.
It didn't sit well for everyone in the courtroom.
I only suffered when you didn't like how Chloe kisses you.
Muhammad's outburst continued until the judge put a stop to it.
The crime constitutes a hate crime. Let black people go with land and reparations.
Telling Muhammad he'll never...
You know what, guys, man, this is what I mean right here. You know, again, man, we have got to truly be honest, man. That happens quite a bit. You know, they don't cover things quite the same way if it's a black person killing a white person. I mean, again, even for attacks that are just purely based on race. What happened today in Jacksonville, that was absolutely horrible. It was, man. Again, my heart goes out to the people that lost their loved ones, that lost their life. Again, we truly get to remember that. But we also got to remember, man, things are not covered the same way, the other way around. And again, man, we don't blame Democrats. We don't. For some black person going on a rampage. We don't. Man, again, even when they're killing people based solely on race, we don't blame the left. We don't. So again, we have got to understand they don't need to blame the right. But that's what they always do. And again, we do have to also recognize, man, that you are more likely to be assaulted by a black person if you're white than by a white person if you're black. Several times more likely. Anyways, guys, man, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thanks.
You son of a